Have you heard about these compounds that promise to clear zombie cells from your body? Well, today we're exploring the fascinating and still very new science of senolytics. Hello, and welcome to the Nutrition Diva podcast, a show where we take a closer look at the latest nutrition headlines, research, products, and trends, and sort fact from fiction. I'm your host, Monica Reinagel, and today we're exploring some really fascinating new research on compounds that might actually help reverse aging at the cellular level. Now, we've definitely heard this kind of thing before, right? This type of claim, reversing aging at the cellular level, that is stock in trade for the multi-billion-dollar supplement industry, which sells an awful lot of supplements with very flimsy evidence to support them. And indeed, the category of compounds that we're talking about today, senolytics, is already being marketed as the latest anti-aging miracle. Now, my goal today is not necessarily to give senolytics a thumbs up or a thumbs down because I think it's far too soon to say. Instead, I want to brief you on what we do and don't yet know about them so that if you do run across these products or these claims, you've got a little background with which to assess them. So let's start with this intriguing idea of zombie cells. More scientifically known as senescent cells, these are cells that have been damaged or stressed to the point where they stop dividing and they stop functioning, but they don't die off the way healthy cells typically do. Instead, they hang around in the body, not doing anything useful, and even worse, they secrete inflammatory substances that can harm neighboring cells and tissues. Now, we all have some of these senescent zombie cells floating around. As we age, they gradually accumulate in our bodies. And one theory of aging is that it's this buildup of senescent cells which contributes to chronic inflammation, tissue damage, and is a major driver of the aging process. They may play a role in diseases like arthritis, osteoporosis, heart disease, diabetes, even dementia. Well, senolytics is a class of compounds which may be either naturally occurring or engineered that target these undead senescent cells by inducing cell death, which then allows them to be cleared from the body. And the idea is that by removing these problematic cells, we might reduce inflammation, improve tissue function, and potentially slow down certain aspects of aging. It's exciting to think that instead of just treating the symptoms of aging in a decades-long game of medical whack-a-mole, we could potentially target one of the underlying mechanisms of aging itself. Yet, as intriguing as this concept is, we're still very much in the early stages of understanding how effective, safe, or just practical these senolytic compounds might be for widespread human use. Quercetin is one of the naturally occurring compounds that have been identified as a senolytic. This flavonoid is found in a wide variety of foods, in particular capers, onions, kale, berries, and tea, and it has a long history of use as an antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory, and immune-modulating agent. More recently, though, researchers noticed its ability to selectively target these senescent cells, inducing cell death without harming the healthy cells in the neighborhood. That, plus its very well-established record of safety, has put quercetin at the forefront of senolytic research. While most of the research on senolytic compounds so far has been limited to studies looking at cells in petri dishes or animal studies, a combination of quercetin plus a drug called dasatinib has made it into early phase human clinical trials, and they have seen some promising results. Dasatinib has been around for about 20 years. It's approved for the treatment of certain types of leukemia. A recent study at the Mayo Clinic tested the effects of a 20-week regimen of quercetin plus dasatinib in postmenopausal women, and they measured beneficial effects on bone formation, for example. However, the benefits were mostly seen in women who had higher levels of senescent cells going into the study, which kind of makes sense. But it suggests that this particular type of anti-aging therapy may not be effective for everyone. Those who, for whatever reason, have a higher burden of senescent cells might get more benefit. And this study also wasn't long enough or large enough to sort out questions about ideal dosage or timing or the long-term effects. Other, even more preliminary trials have suggested possible benefits in terms of cognitive function and in specific pulmonary conditions. And there are a lot of other senolytic compounds, both natural and engineered, in the pipeline at even earlier phases of research and development. And the hope, obviously, is that we might eventually be able to design highly specific senolytic compounds to target specific organs or cell types or disease processes. But it is early days for all of that. As you may be aware, scientific research and medical research in particular has recently hit a major roadblock in the form of drastic cuts to research funding and to the agencies that oversee and coordinate the most promising medical research. So unfortunately, progress on this promising area of anti-aging research may slow to a crawl for the foreseeable future, which is a shame because it's hard enough to be patient while promising therapies make their way through the long process of research that's required to bring them safely to market. It's even harder when researchers are forced to abandon promising research midstream. Meanwhile, however, senolytic supplements have already entered the market. So, as you probably know, nutritional supplements are regulated far less rigorously than pharmaceuticals. While companies can't make specific claims about curing or treating diseases, aging is not considered a disease. So, nutritional supplements can be positioned as anti-aging products. And with some clever inferences, marketers can gesture toward and capitalize on the scientific developments going on in senolytic research. The bottom line? While senolytics represent a genuinely exciting area of research and one that I'll be following closely, I encourage you to approach senolytic supplements with a healthy dose of skepticism. If you're intrigued by the potential benefits of these natural compounds, a practical step you could take right now is incorporating more quercetin-rich foods like apples, kale, and berries into your meals. And lifestyle habits can also play a role here. Regular physical activity promotes the clearance of senescent cells from the body, and that may be why exercise seems to be one of the most potent anti-aging therapies of all. And there's also some evidence to suggest that intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating may enhance the clearance of senescent cells. So if that's a strategy or a technique that you are following for other reasons, well, you might be getting a fringe benefit in the form of fewer so-called zombie cells. My thanks to the listener whose question prompted today's episode. Even though this research is still in its infancy, I found it really interesting, and I hope you did too. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, you can email me at nutrition@quickanddirtytips.com. And if you'd like to find out about having me speak at your next live or virtual event, you can learn more at wellnessworkshere.com. Nutrition Diva is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. Steve Riekeberg is our audio engineer. Brandon Getchis provides script editing. Holly Hutchings is the digital operations specialist. And Morgan Christensen heads up podcast operations and advertising. We also get indispensable support from Nat Hoops. Thanks to all of them, and thanks to you for listening.